Guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary and high school age. I help you implement systems and strategies in order to overcome the chaos and cultivate simplicity in your home and homeschool. Today we're going to be talking all about brain dump journals and master to-do lists. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so first of all, I want you to know that this is an introduction to a workshop that I'm going to be doing over in my membership community throughout the month of September. I would love for you to come join us. I will leave a link for that in the description box if you would like to go more in depth with regards to master to-do lists and brain dump journals, all of that stuff. Come on over and check us out. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about what a master to-do list is and how I use that in coordination with kind of like a brain dump journal. And this is something that I have done for a very long time. I'm a list maker. I have always kept lists. I do a lot of planning through lists. If you've watched any of my weekly or daily plan with me's, you will know that I do a brain dump each week and I kind of parcel out all of those projects into my weekly planner, giving them a specific day, and then with my daily planning, giving it a specific time block to work on that particular project. So that is kind of how I've done my planning, but there are so many things that aren't necessarily weekly projects that I think of when I'm doing my weekly brain dump. And there are things that I just constantly have in my head all of the time, and I need a place for those things to go. Part of the reason that I need a place for those things to go is because I want to reduce the mental load that I have as a person. It is something that I've talked a lot about over the past several years, decision fatigue and mental load, and just having a system in place to deal with that stuff. When you write things down, you are able to let them go. Your brain allows you to let them go, but only if you have a system in place to deal with those things. Otherwise, what happens is you constantly keep those thoughts in your head because your brain knows that you're not going to deal with them at a later date. The first step in using a master to-do list or a brain dump journal is to understand that you have to have a system in place to deal with those things that you're putting on the list. And I have a couple of tools that I use for my brain dumping and master to-do list that I'm going to share with you. The first is my little journal. This is an A5 Leuchtturm notebook. It's a soft cover notebook. You can get these on Amazon. Any notebook will do. I just happen to really like the Leuchtturm notebooks. I get a lot of the B5 size notebooks for my book journal, for my work notebook, for goal planning. I've used these a lot in the past several years. I really like them. If you're interested in this one, I will leave it linked in the description box. So this is just a little line notebook. It's pretty skinny. I think it has like 125 pages in it. And I really like the Leuchtturm notebooks because they have an index at the front, which is helpful to keep track of all of the things on your list. And I got this maybe 6 months ago because I realized that instead of having everything in one place, I had it in multiple places. Part of that is because I am a multiple planner user. And so I would have lists of things in multiple places. And I realized that my brain was starting to not like that system of dealing with things because things were falling through the cracks. And so when I'm talking about getting things out of my brain, it is random thoughts throughout the day that you might write on a sticky note, you might write on a grocery list, you might write down to discuss with your spouse when they get home from work. But if you don't have a central location for all of those things and then a system in place to actually focus on that list, you are going to not reduce your mental load. It's just going to be another list. So I decided, like I said, several months ago, I think it was maybe in March, that I wanted to have a notebook specifically for these lists. And it is not a super organized list based on different categories or anything like that. It is just a running list. Anytime I think about something that I either need to discuss with my husband or something financial related or something with the kids or anything, goals, all of that stuff, it just goes in this notebook. And then weekly, what I do is I come in and I see what is on the list, and if there is anything that can be moved to a specific time. If it's things that I need to discuss with my husband, is there a time that we're going to be meeting or going out for coffee or doing something where we can sit down and chat about these things so that I can plan the next steps? Is it something goal related that I want to focus on later on and I just need a place to put it down for now, knowing that, okay, on my monthly reset day, I will think about that thing? Is it something relating to my kids, a need that they have, but I know that I'm not in a position to buy winter boots because it's July? As we get closer to fall, that I can look for deals on boots. So anyways, whatever it is, if you have a place to put it down and then have a system in place to revisit this list, you are going to reduce so much of your mental load, and it is incredibly valuable. Now, I have been using a couple of different resources this year in order to kind of solidify my system. It is something that I've been doing for years. I have always had lists that I revisit. This is the first year that I've actually compiled them in a notebook instead of in random spots, sometimes in my planner right here, sometimes in my daily planner, sometimes on sticky notes or just a notepad that I have in my kitchen. Having it all in one place makes it a little easier so that nothing is falling through the cracks. I'm constantly able to go in and revisit this list when I have time. So the two resources that I'm mainly talking about are the books Getting Things Done and Getting Things Done for Teens by David Allen. I don't know where my Getting Things Done normal book is at the moment. This one is in my my planner caddy because this is what we're going to be using for the first personal development book for my teenagers this year. So this is the one that I grabbed as I sat down to record this video. But David Allen has a very specific process in order to deal with all of the things. You essentially take an inventory, you write every single thing down, and then you process through all of those things and you sort them into different sections of your life. Either it's something to file, it's something to put on your calendar, it's a project that you need to work on, it's something that you need to delegate to somebody. Having all of these different systems in place so that you can deal with these things and not keep them in your brain. That allows you the space to work on the things that are most important and reduces stress and just helps you get a better handle on your life. So I started reading these books this year. I think earlier this year, I started reading these books, and it gave me clarity as to my own process. I have used a very similar process to the Getting Things Done method that David Allen talks about, but having it written in such a way was very helpful. Now, Getting Things Done, the adult book, is a little bit dry. It's a little bit more focused on corporate jobs and executive leadership, I feel like. So if that is not your jam, you may just want to go through the teens book. It is the same process, but it's obviously a lot more fun because it is written to teens. So that is the first resource that really walks you through creating an inventory, creating your brain dump list, and then making a plan to work through those items. So the way that I work it is anytime something comes to mind, I will write it on this list, and then periodically I will come in on a specific scheduled time and go through the list. When I go through the list, I will just cross things off or move them to my calendar or realize they are no longer applicable or whatever it is. So essentially I'm going through and crossing things off or moving them to my calendar. Or some of the other options are things that you maybe need to think more deeply about and journal about and consider. Those I consider more goal-related things, and those things get moved to my goal journal. But just as a place to get all of the thoughts out of your head, this little notebook is what I use. And it has been so helpful for me this year, and keeping everything in one place I've noticed that I'm not writing the same things down. Sometimes what I will do is I will write the same things down over and over because those particular things, my brain already knows that I do not have a real system to organize them and categorize them. So having it all in one notebook has been revolutionary for me. Now, the other tool that is incredibly helpful for figuring out brain dumps and how to organize your thoughts and make progress on those lists is this refresh brain dump journal from Cultivate What Matters. I purchased this when it first came out and I did a full walkthrough and review. I think that if you are struggling with figuring out what a brain dump is and you don't want to go through the books that I mentioned, this is a really good option. And part of the reason is after I purchased this, I realized that one of the books that they refer to a lot in this notebook is Getting Things Done by David Allen. It was really funny because I had just finished reading that book and then purchased this, and I was like, oh, that sounds like Getting Things Done. And then by the time I got to the end, there's the little bibliography at the end. It has Getting Things Done as one of the books, and the other is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is another amazing book. And we read 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens with my teens a few years ago, and that kind of started us on our personal development journey for them. Definitely recommend it if you have high schoolers. It's a really, really good book. So this brain dump journal gives you a way to organize your thoughts ahead of time. Instead of making a list and then having to organize your thoughts, with this, you're automatically going in and organizing your thoughts in a particular way. When you do your brain dump, you know which organizational method you want to use in order to organize that brain dump. And so this is just a little bit more structure than a notebook. It gives you some grid space to do your brain dump, and it's dated up here so you can have a specific date, but then you immediately move into the 4 quadrants to organize those thoughts based on some of the ideas that were at the beginning of this book. You have the Eisenhower matrix by category, by time, by type of task. So those are all ways that you can use to organize your brain dump list. And that is really the next step. You need to be able to organize the list and assign it a date on your calendar or a particular time that you're going to focus on that thing to make more progress on whatever that item is. So the purpose, again, of a brain dump journal or a working to-do list or a master to-do list is to have a place where you can write down all of the things that you're thinking about that you may not know what the next step is. You may not know when you have to do a certain thing, and having a place to put it all down helps you reduce that mental load. And that is the focus of this workshop that I'm going to be doing. It's reducing mental load. It's helping to prepare a system for you to deal with all of the things that you think about on a daily basis. We were not meant to hold to-do lists in our brains. We were not meant to hold all of these things. We were meant for action, but we're not meant to just constantly hold all of these things in our brain. We need to figure out a system in order to process all of this information. And this brain dump journal or master to-do list is a way to start to categorize and inventory all of those things in your brain. So again, this is just an introduction. I hope that you will come over and check out my membership community. I would love to have you there. We're going to be going through a lot of goal planning over the next several months. I use the Power Sheets goal planner from Cultivate What Matters. That is a big part of my goal setting plan, but you can use any sort of goal setting system that you want. I would love for you to come check us out. Again, that is linked in the description box. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have specific questions, I would love to hear them to make sure that I am addressing those over in my workshop. I think it's going to be a great time, and I think it's going to help alleviate some of the stress that we all feel as we're trying to balance all of the things, because balance is really, I don't necessarily believe that balance is a real thing. You're always focusing on one thing more than the others, but having a place to just get your thoughts down and get all of those things out of your head is something that will help you make plans to live your life in a way that matters most to you. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and I will see you in the next one. Thanks guys. Bye.